All right, well, with fears of a recession growing, vice presidential nominee J.D. Vance laid out the simple policy differences between Trump and Harris, speaking with Maria Bartiromo yesterday.
The simple policy difference between Kamala Harris and Donald Trump is we want to open up American energy markets, which will lower the cost of fuel, lower the cost of food, and lower the cost of a whole host of things that people rely on. That will drive down interest rates. And then we want to kick out millions of illegal aliens who shouldn't be in this country, which will lower the price of homes for American citizens. It's actually very simple, Maria. A lot of their economic policies were predicted even by economists on the left to lead exactly where they are now. They went ahead with it because, as Kamala Harris has said, she is a radical who didn't listen to common sense.
Let's bring in Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin to the show. Governor, thanks for being with us on The Bottom Line. I want to get your take on the messaging here. I think if you look at the American voter, they're concerned about the economy. They're concerned about inflation. And I think all of us here would agree that American energy production matters to drive down the costs of oil and gas. You know, the illegal immigration situation's a problem. But doesn't the Trump campaign have to expand its messaging around what else it's going to do to address inflation and the economy?
Well, good afternoon. And I think today's market sell-off is a reflection that recession concerns are real, but they're also totally based on the fact that over the course of the last 3.5 years, we have seen the Harris-Biden administration take every step they could to drive inflation. And that has caused massive, massive problems around the kitchen table. Grocery prices, gas prices, home prices. Virginians and Americans have suffered. And of course, Virginians and Americans remember during the Trump administration when mortgage rates were low and gas prices were low and inflation was low and we had high growth. And that is the difference between what they're seeing today and, of course, what they know President Trump will deliver when he's reelected again. The reality, of course, is it's a difference between strength and weakness. And what Kamala Harris represents is yet just the next chapter of the same book. They're gonna unleash spending. They don't believe in American energy dominance. They want to cut it and reduce it. And they also have projected that around the world. And let's just be clear. Part of today's sell-off reflects the global uncertainty and chaos that they've unleashed around the world as well. And in fact, they have shown no basic strong support for Israel right now. And the fear is that we're going to have an escalation in the Middle East, not because of what Israel is doing, but because the United States hasn't stood strong and said to Iran, you will not do this, and we will, in fact, play our role to support our ally. This is a culmination of a series of weakness in the economy and in foreign policy, and now we're seeing it come home to roost during the Harris administration.
Yeah, Governor, thank you so much for joining us, by the way. I think it's the first time you've been here. And, what's fabulous in this time of uncertainty and war and chaos and inflation is what your victory meant when you were first elected governor. I mean, the ability to move in, it was really gave people a sense that something new could happen. You came from business, which we're seeing the results of people who don't understand business or are even hostile to it. And, a lot of people might not know that you can't run for consecutive terms. So you had one term to be able to get something done besides being known for the education issue. We can look at your state of Virginia, which just welcomed its 10,000th new business since you took office, a remarkable accomplishment. Can you let people know that in the midst of this chaos and the federal government that doesn't seem to know what it's doing, what did you do in Virginia to make that happen?
Well, we brought common sense to bear in a state that had allowed common sense to be pushed out of the room. Virginia was bottom third in job growth. Small businesses were closing left, right, and center. And we came in and said, we're open for business. We're going to reduce tax burdens. We had $5 billion of tax relief. We streamlined regulations. And we said to everybody, we are going to be pro-business. And, of course, what that has resulted in is record job growth. We have 260,000 more Virginians working today than just 2.5 years ago. Record investment, over $75 billion of capital committed by companies that are here or ones that are coming. And yes, we set our target to have 10,000 new high-growth startups in Virginia by the time our administration was done. And we're 2.5 years in, and we've already blown through that target. I think what it really demonstrates is that common sense conservative policies work. And we were just named top state for business in America because of those common sense conservative policies. This is what Virginians and Americans are looking for. They're looking for strength and leadership. And again, I have to go back to the fact that what they have seen in the Biden-Harris administration is continued misstep after misstep after misstep, driving inflation and undermining economic growth. And everyone understands that when you unleash unfettered spending, and Kamala Harris was the deciding vote to unleash trillions of dollars of spending that drove inflation up across America. When you do this, it is the silent thief that steals hardworking Virginians and Americans' paychecks. And that's why it makes it so hard for anyone to really contemplate handing the economy over to her again, when in fact they have seen the Trump administration do what they can do.
Right. You lower taxes, streamline regulation, you get growth. Kamala and Joe, they increase taxes and give you more regulation, and you see the economy and the markets that we have today. But before we let you go, Governor, let's take a look at the 2024 race. Vice President Kamala Harris, she's expected to announce her running mate tomorrow, and then she's going to head on a swing state tour with her new partner. What's your take on the race? Obviously, Kamala has had a bump. What are you seeing in Virginia? Obviously, your state leans Democrat, but Republicans think it could be in play. Is this just a bump, or is this going to be a tighter race than Donald Trump expected?
Well, it's very tight in Virginia, and it was like that a few months ago. I expect it's still like that today. I do believe voters recognize that Kamala Harris will just continue to do what Joe Biden had done. She was the border czar, and we have chaos at the border. She, in fact, was the last one to speak to Joe Biden before the Afghanistan pullout. And look what happened after that around the world, with weakness projected. And of course, she cast that deciding vote to unleash trillions of dollars of spending in America that drove inflation. The reality is, it doesn't matter who she picks as her vice president. They can't mask her track record. And this is going to be a campaign of communicating what will happen. And I do believe that President Trump's track record will stand strong against Kamala Harris's track record on all fronts. And that's going to be where voters cast the deciding vote for a strong America, and not a weak one.
No doubt about that.
Excellent.
Governor Glenn Youngkin, thanks for being with us. We appreciate it.
Thank you, sir.